Country is far too expensive. Donald Trump and Republicans promised to lower costs on day one. Costs haven't gone down.
20 million Americans are going to face either massive increases of premiums or not be able to afford health insurance at all. That is a national crisis.
Now, Trump is taking his affordability push on the road, but Democrats are under strict orders to go all in on what they're calling this affordability crisis. And obviously, some people are very worried out there, and they think prices are too high. But the Democrats are the ones who got us into this place in the first position. Even the DNC's Ken Martin is basically admitting it.
Inflation has been a challenge for a long time now in this country, but the reality is Donald Trump and this administration made it a lot worse.
Oh, it made it worse? What is he talking about? Read the charts on that. That's just stupid. Now, the economy is doing much better than it was under Biden. Trump's digging us out of a hole. It's very deep. But he's still not getting high marks on it. Americans are not feeling how good things are. And for them, prices are too high. And it's not just a perception. They are too high in too many cases. But Trump is doing everything he can to put more money in your pocket. He's giving families a head start with the new Trump accounts, a new savings plan for newborns, which is fantastic. Of course, tariff rebate checks. He's promising those. Rents are falling. Mortgage rates have dipped. It's near its low for the year. And the average gas price hits its lowest level since 2021 this week. Here to weigh in is Matt Towery, pollster, political analyst, Chris Bedford, the Beltway Brief author. Now, Matt, the administration obviously knows things have improved in the areas where I just delineated. But they also know they have a public opinion problem here that has to be addressed because Americans still, enough of them at least, are not feeling the improvement. What do you think about this show that they're taking on the road? Will it be a positive development for what they want to do next year?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that President Trump is realizing that while things are improving, that people aren't necessarily feeling it. And he's smart enough to recognize it and get on the road, because when he goes on the road, he gets a lot of coverage. And that can help get past this biased media that is not reporting the progress the president's making. I want to note, though, Laura, we've been down this road before. You remember back when Ronald Reagan was serving in his first term, and boy, all they could do is talk about, remember the song that had who elected this tired old king? Let's see, called him a king, talked about how the economy was terrible, trying to hang the Jimmy Carter economy on Ronald Reagan. Obviously, he turned that around. The question is, will Trump be able to do it in time for the midterms? And I just want to make one last point. You had on Robert Cahaley, a great colleague of mine in pollster, I think it was last night or the other night, and he said one thing. Where were the TV commercials during the great football games talking about how the cost of a Thanksgiving dinner was so much less this year? Where were the Republicans running those ads? Had they did that, and would they do that sort of thing, Donald Trump wouldn't have to sit that and wait like Ronald Reagan to see if things got better. He would have help. Trump's doing it, but he needs help. He can't do it alone.
And I agree with you completely. And Chris, you think about all the people made so much money over the last year or two. You know, a lot of people in the tech industry have made hundreds of millions of dollars. You can't just sprinkle money, into these elections and the presidential cycles. You have to invest in messaging. You have to invest in the substantive arguments that can be made in a really cool way on internet ads, obviously social media, which is key, and cable, radio, so forth. That has to be a regular thing, not a once every 4 year, I'll dip my toe into the pond.
It does, and I'm glad also the president seems to be taking this more seriously as an electoral issue, because while you can, exactly right, point to gas prices, mortgage prices, rent prices, prices of eggs, Thanksgiving, as declining compared to the incredible highs they've been. If you're a family right now who's planning their Thanksgiving, their Christmas dinner, or you're someone who just went through Thanksgiving, or you're trying to buy presents for your kids, they are more expensive than they were in previous years. You're having to penny pinch more than you used to with car repairs. Every aspect of American life seems to be becoming more difficult to afford. Going out to dinner, going to a local pub and getting an appetizer and 2 pints is going to be $70 in a lot of different cities, especially around Washington, D.C. And that's something that people aren't hearing. And the president's been looking at the statistics previously and said, what is this issue? This is a hoax. The Democrats are pushing this. But to folks who are suffering, they need to actually see him taking it seriously, addressing it, talking about it. Not a 50-year mortgage, not 50 years of servitude to a bank, but other actual aspects of this. And a lot of this is going to end up having to do with Congress, because huge amounts of the carve-outs that we have given to corporations versus homeowners, et cetera, aren't just aspects of the market. They are decisions and privileges that have been given by our lawmakers that have allowed a lot of small people to get priced out of the modern American economy and the American dream, to cause it become more difficult for young people to buy homes, and they have to focus on that as well.
Well, I got to say, just in closing, and very quickly, Matt, Jerome Powell has done an enormous amount of damage to the U.S. economy. With where inflation still is, those rates should have been brought down starting really in the summer and continuing through the end of this year. He held back when he lowered them before the election last year, when you could have made the argument we didn't need them lowered last fall. So this has been a total anvil on the shoulders of the American economy.
Yes, and in my opinion, it's been political. I know the Fed chairman always says they're not political, but gee, like you said, he lowered interest rates when they didn't need to be. Then he wouldn't lower them when they need to be. It's just been absurd, and it has been a problem for Trump that Trump has griped about every single day, and he's right to do so.
He's 100% right on this. We're going to watch this road show very closely. Both of you, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.